Hey bros, welcome back. So I just came back from my honeymoon trip with my wife in Australia. So we visited the cities, Melbourne, Sydney. Subsequently, we visited the countryside in Tasmania. In total, I think we spent almost $12,000, which is a lot of money, but it was worth like every single penny. So why am I sharing this with you at the start of a video about frugalism? Because frugalism is not about not spending money at all. It's about intentionally spending your money in places or things or experiences that are just worth it. It means that you should spend purposefully and reduce wastage so that overall you become happier. So for me, what's really important are my friends and family. And just in case you don't know, you guys are like my family, so do subscribe for the YouTube algorithm. So by being frugal, it also allows me to save a lot. And when I get to save, I can invest. And that brings me even more wealth and more happiness in the future. You know, compound interest is like the 8th wonder in the world. And just to give you an idea, if every single month, by being frugal, we can net an extra $200 every single month. And if you can invest that, say, at 10% a year, compounded, in 40 years, that $200 can become $9,000. And if you just half that, 20 years, it becomes $1,300. And in 5 years, this $200 only becomes $320. So there's actually a lot of benefits to being purposeful with your money, or if not, you have a huge upside potential just to save that money and invest it. So for me, when I think of spending money, a lot of times I'm thinking, hey, is this money that I'm going to spend worth that amount of happiness? Would getting $9,000 make me happier or doing what I want to do? So in this video, I want to share with you 9 different frugal living ideas that hopefully can help you be more purposeful, mindful, and happier. Because times have changed, I think the tips should change. I realize a lot of me and my friends and family are spending almost $100 to $200 unnecessarily in things that don't make them any happier, when they could have easily invested money and get at least $1,000 to $10,000 of extra money. So this research took a lot of time to compile and script. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. So first up is to cut off all unnecessary or scamish subscription. So what do I mean by that? When I was starting to become an adult, adulting, I needed to sign like cables, phone plans, and I realized actually a lot of plans do have some sort of freebie that they'll give you. For example, ViewQuest, which is my Wi-Fi provider. I mean, this is just an example, not saying they're bad. Notice that they give like 3 months subscription or 2 months free subscriptions, but subsequently, they will charge you $30 a month. So when you try to sign up with this plan, you notice that there's actually no option for you to sign up for this plan. So a lot of us will actually keep this plan, and in return, eventually they cost us money without us even noticing. Another big trap that I noticed is that when you sign up for subscription service, let's say Netflix or Spotify, there's actually family and friends plans that if you band together with just 3 or 4 of your close buddies, you get to save almost 60% of the money. And if you want to be even stricter, what me and my family did was that we signed up for the Malaysian plan, because if you cross over the border, live in your relative's place and sign up a plan over there, it's half price. So by utilizing this technique alone, I could save easily $100 every month by sharing and minimizing the free plan that eventually cost me passive money every single month. So the second tip that I have is to always use house brand. So when I buy things from supermarkets, right, let's say FairPrice and Sheng Siong in Singapore or Cold Storage, more and more often the supermarkets themselves actually develop their own house brand. Even Redmart, the online grocer, also has their own house brand. A lot of us, we go on autopilot where we just keep buying the same thing and same thing again. I try to make it a habit these days to try to pay attention. Hey, is there like the house brand? Because more often than not, the house brand from the supermarkets are cheaper. A couple of examples would be like soy milk. There's the FairPrice soy milk. And the second one would be cleaning products. So by choosing house brand, oftentimes I save as much as 30%, because sometimes the price is same. The size in which the house brands give you, it's like instead of 300 ml, they give you 500 ml for the same price. And overall, it's just a much better deal. And this ties into my third habit, which I do very frequently, which is to stack discount items. So oftentimes when we buy things, right, there's always this little dilemma.
It's on discount. Should I buy more? But if I buy more, then I need to spend more cash now.
So I watched this interview by Mark Cuban. He gave personal finance advice to youngsters on one of the easiest ways to save money, and it is to stack discount items because the ROI is oftentimes quite insane. And true enough, when I start to look at like shampoos, soap, detergent, nowadays whenever I see, hey, there is like a 20% off, I go much more aggressive when it comes to stacking all these products, especially when I do like online grocers where they even settle the delivery for me. So those, I stack a lot more discounts. On a month-to-month basis, I spent almost $400, I think $300 to $400 of groceries. And by utilizing this and the previous strategy, I think I save almost 10 to 20%, which is like $40 to as much as $50, $80 worth of groceries every single month. Now moving on to the fourth habit, which is I try to minimize drinking as much as possible. So whenever I meet my friends, right, I arrange for a social context that ideally does not involve drinking. Not that I hate drinking, I do socially drink sometimes. Oftentimes, drinking costs, especially hard liquor, because in Singapore, hard liquors are taxed like crazy, especially when you buy it in bars and clubs. They are like hundreds of dollars every night. So like one tall can of beer is like $6 in Singapore. If you go to like your lounge, if you have a credit card that gives you free lounge access, you can drink those and they are free, instead of buying them at $4 to $6 or $3 to $6 a can. Or even better, if you just drink another thing on the menu, it costs $1. Sure, I still do drink with my friends on Christmas and especially on Chinese New Year, but I do not make it like a regular habit to go out with my friends and drink because I personally don't find a lot of fulfillment and enjoyment in drinking. So for my fifth habit, it's to try and stack meals that I buy in Singapore. In Singapore, it's quite unique compared to other parts of the world where food is super accessible. I think most homes in Singapore, within a 5 minutes to 10 minutes walk tops, you should be able to find a couple of food options. But if you want to find cheap and very tasty food, oftentimes you have to travel maybe 30 plus 40 minutes just to get to a place and buy them and bring them home. Nonetheless, it's still a lot more time effective compared to making a meal at home because I don't make good food. When I make food in Singapore, it's often not very cheap as well because I don't know, I'm just not very good at cooking. So what I realized is that by building relationship with the same store, the cheap and tasty food in my neighborhood area, and I also buy like multiple meals. Instead of buying one meal, maybe I buy like 2.5 or 3 meals each time. It saves me a lot of time having to travel there, saves me a lot of mental bandwidth, like having to think, hey, what do I want to eat tomorrow? Because I prepared it way in advance, and ultimately I still get a very satisfying meal. My sixth tip is that I try to use some sort of financial discount apps, or if not my credit card, as often as I can, because I know some people get very scared of this idea because it gets very complicated if you try to maximize like 100% of which card you should use. But for me, I keep it relatively simple. I use basically only 2 if not max 3 cards. First one that I use is the UOB One card that gives quarterly $50, $100 or $200 cashback. So for me, I'm at the $100 tier every single month. So yes, I almost always get $100 cashback every single month. Apart from that, I also use Google Pay. And Google Pay is like, your regular pay now, that if you use your banks, the banks don't give you any cash back if you do a pay now. But Google Pay, if you use pay now, you get a cash back. And I've accumulated almost, I think, close to $300 in a span of, 2 years. Which is almost $10 a month if I break it down monthly. And that's quite a good cashback for something that is supposedly free. So you don't have to get too complicated with your credit card or payment methods. But I think everybody should adopt at least a form of strategy of getting like easy cashback. So then you can earn that $10 to as much as $100 to as much as $1,000 every single month easily. Unfortunately, UOB One is not having any promotions right now, but other credit cards are. So if you would like to get like your Apple AirPods Pro, your iPad 9, your Xiaomi robot, your Dyson Supersonic cleaner, I'm going to link the description, to those cards below. And yeah, why not just get a freebie and get a huge amount of cash back at the same time? So by using this link, it supports this channel at no additional cost and you still get the same freebies. And tip number 7 is to bring your own snacks and drinks. I have a habit of bringing a water bottle everywhere I go because a lot of times it's a good opportunity to save that $2, that $5 if places allow. In fact, sometimes I just sneak them into the cinema and nobody seems to care that I stack in the cinema. Bring my own snacks, right? That saves me a good amount of money, but more importantly, it keeps me fit and healthy because a lot of places gives you tap water for free if you go to a restaurant. And in Singapore, tap water is drinkable. You can just drink off the tap. It is very disincentivizing to buy water, right? So if you don't have a bottle, this doesn't make sense. You will buy a drink and spend money, and that makes you less healthy because almost all drinks are less healthy than water outside. When you bring a water, you're incentivized. You know what? I'm just going to drink the water. Saves me money, keeps me healthier, keeps me in good shape. Win-win-win. And tip number 8 is to avoid buying set meals. I thought this was a very common thing that I do with my friends, but apparently quite a lot of friends still do buy set meals very often. Like for example, McDonald's, right? McDonald's, they always incentivize you. Do you want to buy a set meal? Did you know if you do like the McDonald's feedback app, they'll give you a free drink or a free pair of fries? I always just try to see if there's any sort of feedback app. Order the a la carte burger or meal, and then get the free drink from the feedback apps. So I know Burger King, McDonald's, KFC have this sort of promotion. So yeah, be sure to check them out. And for me, it's almost unnecessary to buy the entire set meal because I can get the drink for free or use my own water bottle that I bring from home and save a lot of money. And last but not least is house hacking in Singapore. So I think this is a bit of a controversial and personal thing because your home is your own comfort place, right? After a long day of work, you're stressed out, you want to come home to a place that is comfortable. So some of you might find that, hey, having others in the house is stressful. You don't want that. That's perfectly understandable. But for me, I like company. I like to chat with people, share ideas, and it's family, it's home and friends, right? Not to mention, if I house hack, it does bring me a huge source of income. So for me right now, just by renting out my rooms, I easily get well over $10,000 a year without really doing much. In fact, if you are careful and intentional with how you house hack and buy your property, you can even get your monthly mortgage paid off completely through house hacking, meaning to say you live in the home for free. So I talk about this house hacking idea, the exact calculations in another video right here, or you can check out what YouTube recommends you over here, and more importantly, what are some of your favorite frugal living ideas? Be sure to leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay safe, everyone.